Now that you have finished page 99 of your notebook on dot plots, the purpose of this video is for you to listen carefully, and you are going to check your answers and make any corrections of those that you missed. Okay, so let's look at problem number 1. Problem number 1 says a factory manufactures bricks. If a brick is not made to the customer's exact specifications, it is rejected and they measure the error. They have compiled or complied the error samples into this dot plot. So notice in your dot plot that these numbers stand for the error measurements in centimeters. So 2 of the bricks had an error measure of 1 centimeter. 5 bricks had an error measurement of 1.5 centimeters, and so on. So with this information, you were to answer these 3 questions. The first one is asking you for the range of error of these rejected samples. So remember, the range is the difference between my highest value, which in this case is 3 1/2, minus the lower value, which is 1. And when you subtracted those to get the range, your answer should have been 2 1/2. If you missed it, I need you to show the correct work now. The mode is very easy to pick out because you are looking for the tallest peak with the dots. And you'll notice there are 5 dots over 1.5. No other number has that many dots. So the mode is 1 1/2. The next question is asking you for the median, which is the number in the middle when your data is put in order from least to greatest. Well, with a dot plot, the numbers are already in order from least to greatest, so all you have to do is find the dot that is in the middle. We went over this yesterday, so hopefully you remember that all we need to do is cross out your lowest, highest, next lowest, next highest, next lowest, next highest, next lowest, next highest, next lowest, highest, lowest, highest, next lowest, next highest, which means this dot is left in the middle. That tells me that 2 is the median. So make sure that you have all of problem number 1 correct, and if you missed any, you should have the correct answers by now. Okay, now let's move on to number 2. These dot plots show the quiz grades from some various math classes, and you actually have 3 dot plots that we're going to be looking at, and you should have done several things with those 3. You should have found the median, mode, and range with each of those. All right, so if you look at the first dot plot, to find the one in the middle, hopefully you crossed out your lowest and highest until you kept doing that. But the problem was when you got to the middle, these 2 dots were in the middle. Whoops, those 2 dots right there. So 90 and 95 were in the middle. So to find the median of those, you should have added 90 plus 95, and when you divide by 2, your median was 92.5. Once you crossed out your dots and got to the middle, these 2 were left in the middle, 90 and 95. Okay, the mode, of course, was 95 because it has 6 dots above it. None of the other numbers have that many dots. And the range, you should have subtracted the highest dot, which was 100, minus the lowest value, which was 70, and you would get 30. If you made a mistake, make sure you go back and correct that. For the median, you should have added 90 plus 95 and then divided by 2, and you would get 92.5. Okay, let's look at 5th period's quiz grades. The median, this is an easy one to find because this is a symmetrical graph. We talked about that yesterday, how if I draw a line here, it looks the same on the right and the left. So the median is 80 because if you draw that down the middle, it separates the data into 2 sections. Your mode was 80 and your range was 30. You should have subtracted 65 from 95. So if you miss one of those, go back and correct it. For the 6 periods quiz grades, your median, once you crossed out your lowest, highest, next lowest, next highest, you would get these two dots in the middle, and both of them are 70. So when you add those and divide by 2, you should have gotten 70. The mode is 65 because it is the one that has the most dots above it. And the range, you should have subtracted 60 from 90 and you would get 30. If you missed any of that, go back and correct it. Now, the next set of questions is asking you to look at the overall shape of the dot plots, and this is what we did yesterday on class, or in class on our notebook page 97. So for this first one, you are looking for the period, either 4th, 5th, or 6th, that has a symmetric distribution. Well, we've already talked about that as I was going through that median, mode, and range. This class, the 5th period, is the one with the symmetric distribution. If you draw a line, it kind of looks like a bell. Okay, for this one, you should have said that 6th period is a graph that is skewed to the right. So let's go look at that one. Remember yesterday we talked about if you draw a line here, up and over, you're going to look for the tail. This is the tail, and it is on the right. So that means the data is skewed or not balanced. The tail extends to the right. That means the mean is larger than the median. Okay, and which leaves this last one as 4th period. If you go back and look at that, and you were to draw a line, your tail is on the left, so it's skewed to the left. Make sure you have all of number 2 correct. Okay, and your last dot plot was about movie ticket prices, and all you had to do was find the median, the range, the mode, and then you had to tell the shape, overall shape. So the median, if you cross out your lowest and highest and you continue this process until you get to the middle, this is the dot, this top one right here is the dot in the middle, and it represents 10. So your median should have been 10. The range is going to be the difference between 5 and 11, not 4 and 12, because there are no data points for 4 and 12. Those are just on the number line. So when you subtract 11 minus 5, you get 6. So the range of the cost of tickets was $6. The mode for this one, you actually have 2 modes, 10 and 11 are the modes, because there are 5 dots above both of those, and no other number has that many dots above it. Now, let's look at the overall shape of that one. If I were to draw a line, like I taught you yesterday when we were describing the shape, you should notice that there is a tail, and it is on the left. The higher values are grouped together. The tail is on the left. So this is a graph that is skewed to the left. This is a review of what we did yesterday in class, and hopefully you got most of these correct. If you did not, you need to make sure that you understand now why you missed them. You should already have this folded and taped or glued onto page 99 of your notebook, but if not, you can do that now. Now, the rest of the work that you're going to be working on, I'm going to take for daily grades, so make sure that you are doing your best and make sure you are on your best behavior today.